Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Today we discuss Farm Bill 2020. Amongst lot of controversies, amongst lot of theories, amongst lot of point of views, this bill was passed in the Rajya Sabha. Today, let us look at this bill clinically. And like we usually do, let us look at the pros and let us look at the cons of this bill. Finally, I will also spend 2 minutes with you as usual discussing my point of view and what exactly happens in the agricultural market, what exactly happens in the farm. I'll spend 2 minutes talking to you about that. Let's get right into the show. This Farm Bill 2020 is actually, it consists of, it's a combination of three bills. Bill number 1 is Farmers, Produce, Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facility Bill 2020. The second bill is Farmers, Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. And the last is the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020. So broadly, if you see, the Farm Bill consists of these three bills. So all the talks are about these three bills. Now, like I said in the beginning of my discussion, what we will try and do is we will analyze each of these bills. We'll look at the pros and we'll look at the cons. Then I'm sure you can decide what you think is right and what you think is wrong. Now let's start with the first, that is the Farmers, Produce, Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020. The provision of this bill is predominantly to create an ecosystem where farmers and traders enjoy the freedom to sell and purchase farm produce outside of registered mandis under the state APMCs. What does that mean is state has APMCs. APMCs is actually a semi-political body which is controlled by political parties. The farmers are allowed now to go outside of APMCs and sell their product wherever they want. Idea being that wherever they get better price, better profits, they can go and sell their products. So this is the first point that was made under the Farmers, Produce, Trade and Commerce Bill. The second point they said is to promote barrier-free intrastate trade for farm produce. So not only that they can sell, so if a farmer from Maharashtra, not only that he can sell his produce in Maharashtra, he can also decide to sell the produce in Karnataka, which is nearby. Western Maharashtra se Karnataka is bordered, so he can also sell his produce to Karnataka. He can also sell his produce to Andhra Pradesh. He can also sell his produce to Gujarat, or he can sell it anywhere for that matter of fact. But he can sell that product. Core idea being that, listen, you are the boss. Open market. You can sell the product wherever you want. So that's their point number 2. The point number 3 is to reduce marketing, transportation cost and help farmers in getting better price. Now, reducing marketing and transportation cost, didn't understand. I was not quite clear how this is going to happen, which is what I was not with a lot of these points in the bill, but I was not very clear how it is going to happen. Possibly my mistake, there may be this thing, but the point is I was not clear. But getting a better price, yeah, because if you have an open market, the chances are you can go and sell it in a place where you have the best price. So that point of view, I agree. To provide a facilitative framework for electronic trading. So another thing that was brought about is that they will create facility to trade electronically, which means you can decide where you can sell it. You can keep your markets open in e-trading, and anywhere in the countries anybody can purchase your product if the price suits them. So that absolutely opens up the market. Now this one way would help them to reduce transportation and all of that, because the transportation could be shared or whatever. But that was one more facility that the that the bill added. So predominantly four facilities. One is that APMC, you can say no to APMC, go out and sell wherever you want. You can sell in whichever states that you want. They say that they are going to reduce the cost of marketing and transportation, and they are going to ensure that therefore the farmers get better profits. They can sell it at a better price. And last but not the least, they provide facilitative, they facilitate e-commerce for the farmers, wherein the farmers can keep it in electronic mandis, which is like a Flipkart. They can keep their products and people can buy it electronically. So this was the 4 points that was there in the bill number 1. Bill number 1, I repeat, is Farmers Produce, Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facility Bill 2020. Now let's go to what the opposition says. Let's figure out what the opposition is so upset about. The opposition says that the state will lose revenue as they won't be able to collect mandi fees if farmers sell their produce outside registering APMC markets. Now see, one has to understand this carefully. You see, as far as the current state is concerned, if you look at it from a state government perspective, currently the state government is not very sure about the GST because they are not getting GST. Okay, it is being deferred, they are not being paid. Now, what the state government is fearing is that, bhai, ek karke jo hai na, my sale tax went away from me, GST, so it became GST. Am I benefited out of GST? No, not really, because I have not got the money. Now they are saying, ye mandi se jo hum fee collect karte hain, whatever fees we get from the mandis, where that the farmers kind of pay and all of that, the fees that we collect from mandis, that will also go. So the state is very scared, ke bhai, is this going to damage? Is this going to make our revenue position more weaker? So that's one thing the state has said. The second thing the state says is, what happens to commission agents if entire farm trade moves out of mandis? Here I have 2 points. See, this entire commission agent bit is especially in certain states are controlled by politicians. These agents are politicians. They are political workers. Like I said in my previous editorials a few months back, these are the guys who ensures that the farmer doesn't get his profitability. They eat into the farmer's profitability. So at one end, I believe that getting rid of agents to a certain extent is good. But what we need to understand is from an implementation point of view. See, these agents ensures, especially when it comes to small traders, this agent ensure that the moment the farmer harvests his product, the farming produce is packed and it is delivered to the mandi or to wherever it is sold. So the farmer doesn't have the headache of storing it, which is a big headache for a small farmer, mind you. It is a big headache for a small farmer to store his produce. So that's number 1. Number 2 is somewhere down the line, the farmer needs quick money. These agents help them to get that quick money, because every day the farm produce lies in their unprotected environment. The chances of the produce getting bad, getting spoiled is higher. It is higher. So that is why these agents come handy, because these agents ensure that those problems are taken care of from the farmers. Now, are these problems going to be substantiated? Are these problems going to be substituted by the corporates? I will come to the corporate part of it, that is in Bill 2. But I am saying, is there a substitute for an agent? Will there be a substitute for an agent? Because you can't say that, nay, there is no substitute for agent, the farmer. So if I have got half an acre of land, I will put the thing in my back and I will go around selling, kela le lo. It doesn't work that way. That won't work. So the fact is, somewhere down the line, there has to be a substitute for the agent. Is the substitute for the agent as good as the agent? Will they do the work of the agent? While I said before that the agents are also causing a lot of problems in terms of eating away the farmer's profitability. So that's my point number 2 as far as commission agents are concerned. The point number 3 is, it may eventually end up the MSP based procurement system. The minimum MSP is minimum support price. Minimum support price means farmer is given a guarantee that this is the minimum price in which he can sell his product. He can sell it more if he gets, but minimum price is this. So the worry is, nowhere in the bill there is a mention of minimum support price. That being said, the Prime Minister of India has said that minimum support price will be maintained. And I want to believe that it will be maintained also. I will tell you why I want to be believed it will be maintained, because end of the day, if it is not maintained, it will rupture the market. It will ruin the market. So I personally don't think that the minimum support price will not be maintained. But that being said, if the execution of this is good, chances are that the farmer will earn a little more. I don't think that they will earn anything less. Okay, these are the points that the opposition raised to say that the bill number 1 may have problems. Some of them are very valid. Some of them, I think there are options to it. There are answers to it. Now let's get into bill number 2. Bill number 2 is the Farmer Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Service Bill 2020. Now let's look at this bill. Let's look at what the farmers are offered in this bill. The first thing that the farmers are offered in this bill is farmer can enter into contract with agri-business firms, processors, wholesalers, exporters or large retailers for sales of future farming produce as pre-agreed prices. This is something that let us discuss in detail. See, what's going to happen is it's going to corporatize agriculture. It's going to corporatize farming. By the looks of it, very good. No doubt. I completely support this, but I have a problem. The problem is, if the corporatization that is going to happens like what happened in the airports, what happened in certain other sectors, then we have a problem. If the corporatization is going to be monopolized under the hands of a couple of corporate bigwigs, then we have a problem, because then the agricultural trade will be controlled by one or two bigwigs in the market. But if this corporatization is spread wide and thin, then it is good. If you have a Birla, a Tata, a Godrej, a Kirloskar, the whole works. Not only those big companies, even smaller companies, mid-sized companies, not smaller companies, but mid-sized companies, entering into agriculture, investing in agriculture, buying agricultural products, selling agricultural products for the farmer, good idea. Good idea. But the fact remains that if it restricts itself to a few players, then there is a definite problem. So that's my point of view. Number 1, I will dwell a little more into this. You see, the biggest problem that I've been constantly saying, and if you've heard my editorial on agriculture, is that there is certainly a lack of infrastructure and investment in agriculture. You see, we are such a big country. We produce so much. But even today, a tractor is a luxury for our farmers. You see, I remember in Brazil and all, I'm told that the entire agriculture is done through satellite. They mark the agricultural land through satellite, and it is the satellite that guides the tractor to go and till the land. That's the kind of technology that Brazil is using. And mind you, Brazil is not that big a country, and they're almost like us. But that's the kind of technology that Brazil is using, and that's precisely why they have 130, 140% profits that the farmers make. Now the thing here is, while the concept is fine, but how is the government going to ensure that these companies are made to put in this kind of investment? This kind of investment wherein they actually first do not talk about reaping profits month 1, but talk about how to invest in that land, invest in equipments, invest in infrastructure, and ensure that the produce at least goes up by 30-40%, and then start reaping their profits. Obviously, everybody wants to reap profits. There is no doubt about it. I am not against that. But the fact remains that the first thing that needs to do is to make our land more fertile technologically, using technology. Is that going to happen? The second point that I have, when you say that good times, bad times, they will stand by us, I want to ask, listen, I agreed on a price. I agreed on a price of 1,000 rupees per kilo. For instance, I'm just talking out of my hat, 1,000 rupees per kilo. I agreed on that price. Now, what happens? What happens if there's a flood? Do I still get some kind of money as assurance, as the insurance company, as they say, okay, fine, you take crops nahi hua, or I say no, crop nahi hua, company says mal nahi mila, paise nahi mile. Is that what is going to happen? If that's the second part is what is going to happen, then kya assurance? Fir kya price ka assurance hai, which is okay, which is not bad, theek hai, fine, but then kya assurance? So that's another thing that is not clear in what I am seeing, what is in front of me. Whether there is a clear assurance that if there is flood, if there is famine, if there is infestation, will the company help us? Will the corporate help the farmers? That's a question that we need to ask. That's a question that needs to be very clear in this. So that's one point that I have to make. The second thing in our bill 2 is to transfer the risk of market unpredictability from farmers to sponsors. This is something that I will be interested in. This is what I was speaking about. How do I transfer my risk? Which means that am I saying that, listen, there are two things. Risk can be risk is of two levels. Risk number one is my inputs. So are you saying that the sponsors gives me all the money to buy my raw material, my fertilizers, my seeds, my insecticides, my germicides, my whatever, that all my tools, my agricultural tools, are they giving me the money? This money I invest in my farm. After investing in my farm, then I grow my produce. Okay. Now, what happens if there is a drought, if there is a famine, if there is a drought, if there is a flood? What happens? My produce gets washed out, or my produce gets burnt out. Okay. In this case, there are two problems I face. First of all, I am now indebted to people. I have got debt to be paid to people through whom I bought my raw materials. That's my problem number one. My problem number two is no material. What will I sell? What will I eat? Bulk of the suicides happen because of these two problems. Bulk of the farmer suicide happens because of these two problems. Now, what I want to know from here is will the sponsor take care of problem number one, which is if I take money from the sponsors, and if the sponsors are going to give me money, and I buy my input products, and if I don't, if there's a natural calamity, if there's force majeure, will the sponsor says, okay, I forget and forgive your debt, which means that money is over, you don't have to pay me back. Does that happen? Secondly, does the sponsor tell me, okay, fine, you didn't produce, you couldn't produce, you would have made a profit of 10 lakh rupees per year, I won't give you 10 lakhs or whatever, 10 lakhs to bahut zyada ho gaya, to 3 lakh rupees profit per year, I will not give you 3 lakh rupees, but theek hai, I will give you 1.5 lakh rupees. You didn't make profit, I didn't make profit, but I still give you that 1.5 lakh rupees. Is that what you are saying when transfer of risk, when you talk about transfer of risk? So this is something that I want more clarity on from in this particular bill, which I presume we will get in the future. Now, the fourth point that I say is to enable farmers to access modern tech and get better inputs, which is something that we discussed earlier on. We maintain that corporates come in. If the corporates are going to give them better infrastructure, corporates are going to get them better inputs, that is fantastic. But then, is the government going to put certain restrictions on corporates? Is the government going to put some strictures on corporates saying that, boss, you can only enter into this industry if you provide X amount of technological inputs to the farmer that you are going to contract with? Is that going to happen? Or is it going to be free for all? Ke tum jao yaar, tum kharido, tum lo. So, some companies may invest, some companies may not invest, some companies may do something, some companies may not do something. Is that going to happen? That is one thing that we need to be very clear upon. Okay, so it is good if it is the investment is there, the inputs is there. If you are giving infrastructure, fantastic. But how much of it is going to happen is something that we need to understand. To reduce cost of marketing and boost farmers' income. I don't know. I don't know much of it. Marketing cost for a farmer, I think, what is marketing cost for a farmer? Farmer's marketing cost is, I think, as good as if you're talking about transportation, if that is what you talk to as marketing, or are you talking about marketing going to the mandis and staying there for 4 days, is that marketing? Or keeping the product produced in stockage, is that what you call as marketing? So I didn't quite understand what is marketing for a farmer, what is the marketing cost of a farmer. But that being said, yes, with storage, transportation, and actually going and selling taken off from the farmer's hand, the profitability of the farmer increases. Proviso, the farmer is given a good price. Globally, a farmer makes around 100 to 125% profits on their produce. You have to understand that's what a farmer makes. Why does the farmer makes that kind of money? The farmer makes that kind of money is because the farmer does not make money year on year on year. It doesn't. He doesn't, because in a gap of 5 years, a farmer may make money 2 years. 3 years, he may face famine, he may face floods, or he may face infestation. He may not make money, his crops may not do good. But the 2 years that he makes money should be enough for him to survive for 5 years, and that is how you should look at farming industry. The profitability of a farmer of 25% or 30% hardly suffices them for 1 year. Next year, if they don't make money, they starve. They starve. So the whole idea is to increase profitability. So all this MSP and all is fine till such time that the profitability of the farmer is at least 100 to 120%. If this bill can ensure that the farmer gets that kind of profitability, if what they mean by cost boost farmer's income is around 100%, which means he's getting 25%, they boost it by another 70%, then we say this is a phenomenally successful plan. It will be a phenomenally successful plan, and then you can boldly say that our farmers will not commit suicide. That is for sure. Our farmers will not commit suicide. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little longish to explain this, but this is a subject very close to my heart, so I am kind of being a little more elaborate in this. The fifth thing they say, the next thing they say, I don't know which point is it. The next thing they say is farmers can engage direct marketing by eliminating intermediates for full price realization. So that's what I said. Agents go out, farmer can get full price. Let us see. See, while, like I said before, I repeat myself, agents bad. What agents does, not good. Agents, most of them politicians. All that is fine. All that is fine. But mind you, agents also play a vital role in the entire sector. If you remove agents, I would say good. But you should remove agents by giving a very strong alternative for an agent who can go up to the smallest farmer in a village and ensure that his produce are picked up and he's paid the money. That infrastructure should be given. My worry with corporates are always interested in dealing with 5 farmers who have got 500 acres land each, or 10 farmers who have got 500 acres land each. So 5,000 acres of land they are happy. They will not want to go to a person who has got 2 acre land, half acre land, because they need infrastructure. Their infrastructure cost will increase. My worry is, whichever the corporate is, will the corporate invest that kind of money? If the corporate doesn't invest that kind of money, if they just take the cream and they sit with the cream and they say, well, yeah, 1,000 farmers who are already rich farmers and all the chota mota farmers are left to, strive on their own, then there is a problem. And that's something that we need to figure out how this bill is executed and how they are sorting this problem out. Believe me, I'm telling you, this is a huge problem that we are going to face in the middle, in the process, and that's something that the Agricultural Ministry has to take notice of. So that's as far as farmers' engagement in direct market, removing intermediate is concerned. Effective dispute resolution mechanism and redressal timelines. Okay, these are all claims, effective dispute. Let us see whether that happens or whether that does not happen. Now, what does the opposition say? The opposition says that farmer in contract farming arrangement will be weaker players in terms of their ability to negotiate what they need. So they're saying that, in a large, when you are negotiating with a large company, the opposition says, will the farmer get the say? I agree to that to a certain extent, but I also believe that this can be resolved. You know how this can be resolved? This can be resolved if there is phenomenal amount of training given to farmers to negotiate for themselves. This can be resolved if social workers, social activists, farm activists, agricultural activists, if these kind of people get involved and train the farmer, teach the farmer, work with the farmer to do effective negotiation. If that happens, then this can be resolved, is what my point of view is. The fact remains that the problem remains, but there is a solution to it. So these are things that the government has to do. So the bill as is looks okay. But what is not looking okay are the things that has to be added. You see, saying that, okay, we will get you more price, we will get you more profits, good. But how are you going to get profits is the point that needs to be more elaborate. The third bill that I spoke to you about was Essential Commodities Bill of 2020. Now, what does Essential Commodities Bill say? Essential commodities bill say that to remove commodities like cereals, pulses, oilseed, onions, potatoes from the list of essential commodities, it will do away with the imposition of stock holding limits to such items except under extraordinary circumstances like war. This is I think, a very, very good point. Remove these points, remove these products from essential commodities so that it is not restrained. You can't, if you hold, what they mean by essential commodities act is these kind of products like pulses, oil seeds, onion, potatoes, you can't store them. So whatever price, wherever it is, you have to distribute that in the market. Now, what happens if it is distributed in the market? If it is distributed in the market, at times when the market is flooded with potatoes and you are a potato farmer, but you are forced to distribute because you can't hold it. When you are forced to distribute your product in the market, you have to sell your potatoes at the price that you get. You don't have a choice. Then there are other factors also involved that this should not therefore promote hoarding of products. That also needs to be seen parallelly. But as of now, broadly, it's an okay. To my mind, it's an okay proposition. The provision will attract private sector FDI into farm sector, as it will remove fears of private investors of excessive regular interference in business operations. Good idea, because the more restrictions you have in an industry, the more you are stopping private sectors from being part of that industry. Which private sector would like to be part of an industry where you have got 100 restrictions? So yeah, I mean, removing restrictions, making the market a little more open, making the market a little more license, regulatory free is a good idea. So that's point well taken, fair enough. To bring investment for farm infrastructure like cold storage, modernization, food supply chain, etc. Fine. To help both farmers and consumer by bringing a price stability. See, idea fantastic. All that is great. It will help stability and all that. Fine. How well can this be executed is the question that I ask in this particular point in time. Can this be executed well? If this can be executed well, fantastic. If this can't be executed well, then what is going to happen is, you see, first and foremost is, if the corporate doesn't help them to store their product, these farmers don't have enough place to store their products. Storing is a huge problem in Indian farming industry. Huge problem in Indian farming industry, especially in states where farming is not, in states where, in states where there are no progressive farmers. Certain places there are progressive farmers. Cooperative farming plays a very vital role. Udhar sab theek hai, but in a place where there is no progressive farming, no cooperative society playing vital role, all this is slightly difficult. So we are hoping a lot of this bill will be taken care of by the corporate sector. So that's where it stands. The opposition to this is big companies will have the freedom to stock commodities. This is one thing that even I have a thought on. See, I hope big companies, huge infrastructure, doesn't start hoarding. What are the restrictions that you are going to go on big companies to stop hoarding? What if they start hoarding cereals? What if they start hoarding oil seeds? What if they start hoarding onions? What happens if they start hoarding that? Okay, so that is a worry. There has to be strong laws to ensure that such hoardings doesn't exist. To conclude, long and short, I have taken a lot of your time. You see, I believe that the start is good. The concept of at least something is being done for agriculture, I'm very happy. What I'm not happy about is a lot of which we are talking about is now on paper. They are thoughts. They are words. I want to see the backup. How? How is a corporate, which I said, 4 or 5 major points in this. How will you ensure that the corporate deals with a half-acre farmer equally like it deals with 100-acre farmers? Corporate world doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Neither does it work with a vendor, nor does it work with a consumer that way. A corporate deals with you very differently if you are a high net worth purchaser, and the corporate deals with you very differently if you are a very high important vendor. It is a fact. A car company will deal with a steel vendor with much more respect than he deals with a vendor who provides him with, say, mats. Point hai, it's a fact. It happens. How do you ensure this doesn't happen in farming? Otherwise, again, you will have poor farmers being more poorer. Second thing, how do you ensure that the corporate are just not here to take money away from the industry? How do you ensure that the corporate will invest in the industry? Very big aspect, very big point. Okay, because investment lena theek hai, but how are you going to ensure that the corporate ensures that the farms have got modern equipments, tools, fertilizers, irrigation methodologies works? How do you ensure that? That's point number 2. Point number 3, what happens in a term of, like you said, the risk passes on to the sponsors. Fine. How, when does the risk pass on to the sponsors? Secondly, how much of the risk passes on to the sponsors? It's just that the cost what I spend to produce my, the cost that I spend to buy my raw material, is that what gets passed to the sponsor? Or even a little bit of profitability that I was expecting from the farm, which gives me my 2 square of meals, will that also goes to the is taken care of by the sponsors. So that's another very important factor that we need to consider. And the last but not the least, how are these people going to ensure, and I use this word 4 times, ensure that the farmers' profitability increases from 25 to 30%, which they currently enjoy, to something like at least 70 to 80%, which they should enjoy? How is that going to practically happen? These are the 4 thoughts I have as far as this bill is concerned. Rest, I think it's fine. Till we meet next time. Namaskar.